Okay, here we go. Good morning, everyone. Got to get my Taekwondo rondas out. What a weekend! What a weekend indeed. We had a lot go on. Um, so I am Coach Malik Call, and this is Catch Up with Coach. Yeah, we're gonna catch up and see um where this goes. College football, hello coffee. Let me take a sip just to get my bearings underneath me. Like, yes, we go jump in and talk about the Tennessee, Georgia. We got to. We also got to talk about Alabama, LSU. We got to. We got to talk about Notre Dame, Clemson. We got to. It's a lot of got tos. Or as my mentor would tell me, we get to. We get to talk about these things. Like, how lucky are we? Right? All right. All right. So let's jump in real quick. Again, tune in at 1 o'clock. I'll be on the Big Jab, the MANNIX Brothers midday with the MANNIX Brothers on the bigjab.com. Uh, by all means, go download that. Go tune in live. They're on right now. They're a great group of brothers. I love what they do. I'm sure they're going to want to talk a little college football too. But while I have you, let's jump in. All right. So, yes, Tennessee, Tennessee. Oh, man. Tennessee. Oh, man. Like, yes. And it's the state that country was birthed out of, you know, they got the blues right now, baby. Mm, mm, mm. And you guys know that I've been a pro Tennessee person. No secret on that. In fact, I've also suggested that the Hooker kid could be not suggested, but I noted that he may be and still will be a Heisman Trophy finalist. You can mark that still. He's a player now. They lost though. Yeah, with they lost, and so what went wrong? What went wrong? It's so where to start, right? Like this game. Oh man, this game went left in so many different ways. The best way for me to explain it, I spoke to it before. I only saw the Tennessee team flinch one time. And when I say flinch, meaning the moment seems to be a little bit too big for them, the opponent, whether they have the mere talent or enough talent or not, the moment, the circumstance might just be too big. Um, I saw that happen, and I've watched this team all season. They've been, and because Josh Heupel, who was also the head coach, who was also a Heisman finalist, they're getting the media attention that they they need and have deserved because they've been winning big games. And so the biggest game in front of them was this one versus Georgia. I thought this game would either seal the deal for this kid to win the Heisman or have people question whether he is a Heisman guy. Um, I think if I had to be honest, I think that's where people are. Like, is he really a Heisman guy? I would tell you yes, he still is. I also would tell you that's how good Georgia is. Like, forget what I know, forget what you think you know. Forget what we just saw happen in Tennessee. Um, Being that we saw Tennessee beat Alabama. That's how good Georgia is. Period. That's how good Georgia is. And not only, because we got to talk about Alabama, but not only did Georgia like manhandle them, Look, I don't say that with any, like, they physically pounded Tennessee. Like, from the inside and the outside. Listen, Tennessee couldn't get the ball down the field for the first few times they had the ball. The fact that they even got a field goal in the first quarter, I was actually like, oh, okay. Oh. It was just if I had to get into the X's and O's and the weeds of the game with you, here's what I would say. Tennessee got caught in a situation where they tried to go mano-a-mano and didn't lean into the schematic approach that is, I think, people take for granted when you have good players. It's a fine line from over-scheming, not scheming enough. I think they got caught in not scheming enough. Or I don't know, man. Look, it's hard to win. I know I'm like this. This was a tough week for me. But yeah, man. Okay, so what am I saying? Tennessee threw the ball for the most part pretty efficient. Hooker went 23 for 33. He did throw a pick, no touchdowns. He didn't go over 200 yards. He ran the ball 18 times and only had 17 yards. Smalls and Wright, almost non-existent outside of the late touchdown that Wright had at the end of the game. But they were committed to giving the ball to him as well. They ran the ball. Look, Tennessee is the best 50-50 ball club in college football outside of Georgia, for real. And that just speaks to how dope Georgia is. How vicious that bulldog bite really is, you just found out. And the Hooker kid's still dope. He's still dope. I don't know what else to say. Like, yeah, Hooker is dope, but the bulldog's bite is real. It's real. Like, and whatever you think of the Bennett cat, whether you think he is a Heisman guy or not, I don't care. Look, if you got all of the talent that he has around him and the quarterback can't get it done, it's glaring. And vice versa. If everything around him is just okay and he's real good, it's glaring. You see it in the NFL every week when the teams aren't clicking and they got an all-star quarterback. But that's for the next segment. And so, yeah, they took an L, man. Hooker just played okay. But let me tell you something about this Georgia team, man. Offensively, like, they're not trying to air you out. They're just trying to beat you up, period. And so time of possession in this game was actually very close. And so when I was talking about the schematic piece, just because you can match up with a team and go man-to-man and mano-a-mano with them doesn't necessarily mean that's the thing to do, right? What I love about the Rocky story is Rocky would go mano-a-mano with him, but it was with the thought process that he could take more punishment than the guy that he would fight. And that's all good until you messing with someone who got a one-hitter quitter. And so I'm going to speak to the two things. The first touchdown Tennessee gave up, it was off of them trying to go for it on fourth down. They in the alumni zone. It was a turnover, obviously. And they went pump, fake, and go, or out and up, the double move. And unfortunately, I've learned this the hard way. When you get in the alumni zone, whether you're home or away, but especially if you're away, play cover two. The alumni zone is from the 45 to the 45. Play a cover two with 3 deep. because that's the quick hit zone. And so first touchdown, double move, man to man, man free to be exact, touchdown. Safety too far away to even help. Corner bites on the pump, touchdown. Second touchdown was in the same similar situation, a one hitter quitter. And so, yes, I think Tennessee is athletic enough to battle with Georgia. Um, but the circumstances, man, you gotta. It's tough as a coach to even see it. Like this is why coaches get paid. This is why coaches get paid. Is to be able to understand, okay, look, guys, we got enough bullets to go and battle with these dudes, but let's be strategic in how we battle them, right? Let's get out of the first quarter by just milking this thing out, running this ball, getting Hooker activated, getting our receivers activated, settling the troops in. Unfortunately, what ended up happening is Tennessee kind of came out the gate, revving the engine and gassed it, and they ran into a brick wall. And that brick wall was that Georgia defense. And it didn't fare for them well. I don't care how safety approved you are. Like this Georgia Bulldog team is not playing with you. Period. All right. The next thing that I'll talk about that I thought made the game interesting, and in my mind, worth bringing up, and I spoke to it a little bit, but the receivers for Georgia, I mean, good goodness. All right. Okay. Here's why I'm tripping on it a little bit, because Tennessee traditionally distributed the ball very well to all of their receivers up until now. But here's what I recognize with Georgia, because Georgia's going to do what they're going to do. Georgia got in and out of 4 defensive fronts against Tennessee. They played a 3-down front. They played a 4-2. They played a 3-down 2 box where they comboed a lot of the stuff. And on top of, every time Tennessee did any type of stacking, they had a combo call where they just zoned it, so they didn't have to get lost in the shuffle. So if they ran a 7-yard slant and a out, like we go give up the 7 yards, give up the out, and then come down and tackle it. It's not sexy, but it's efficient, and it stops the big play. And it puts the position on the offense to just communicate your stack, and both people run the right route. The offensive line protect. The center gets it to the quarter. It puts more pressure on the offense in scenarios when you have good players and you can call your base defense and let your base catch all of the nonsense. And unfortunately, I just felt like Tennessee did not go in with a base to let catch whatever surge the Bulldogs put on them. The base has to be able to be the surge protector. Yes, you have some different plays that you want to call, some blitz game. All of that stuff is cool. I get it. And use it. But time, place, and an overarching scheme to how we're going to go and beat this team. And unfortunately, and I'm not telling you Tennessee didn't have that arcing game plan, but unfortunately, it just didn't fare well because Georgia, handled them 27-13, and it's probably going to knock Tennessee all the way out of the top 5. If it don't put them out of the top 10. Now, here's what I want to talk about the Tennessee. Well, we already talked enough about it, but I want you to see this. The first series of the game. This is how the series goes. Okay. Georgia, this is where it goes. Georgia fumbles out the gate, which gives, I'm like, okay, Tennessee balling. Okay. Tennessee field goal. Now, because of that Georgia fumble, you like, okay, and they in Athens. Okay. And then guess what? Touchdown. 5 plays. Tennessee, punt, 5 plays. Okay. Georgia, punt, 3 plays. Tennessee, punt, 3 plays. Georgia, touchdown, 1 play. Okay, here you go again. All right. Tennessee, punt, 4 plays. Georgia, 6 plays, touchdown. This is a pretty impressive drive, but they're not getting any touchdowns on it. This is where it's separated. Tennessee goes on a 11-play drive for 66 yards and only got a field goal. You put an 11-play drive together, you go take almost 5 minutes off the clock. Yes, you got to get points. The field goal, you got to take it. But when you playing them Bulldogs, you need points. You need a touchdown. And I know what to talk about. And when they ended up kicking that field goal, I'm like, that's 11 plays. That's a hard 11. Because Georgia didn't give them nothing easy. So that hard 11, all they got out the deal was 3 points. And then it comes back around. Field goal, Georgia punts. Then Tennessee throws an interception. Georgia touchdown. And how many plays? Actually, it was a field goal. And 15 plays. Halftime after that. It's hard to win. All right, so that's Tennessee. All right, so Tennessee took it under the chin. I don't know how you feel about they go win out. They should. I mean, the only team that might be able to get them, I could see the in-state rivalry and taking it under the chin because of that. Georgia shouldn't drop it to Mississippi State. They definitely not going to drop it to Georgia Tech, which is their rival game, ACC country. But here's the game that I will keep an eye out for because it's away. They do have to go to Kentucky. And if Kentucky wants to make a play for who they are, I told you guys I recruited the quarterback over there. If they want to be what they say they want to be, at 3-3 in their conference, popping the number 1 Georgia at home can do that. And that's what you call people a trap game. So though Georgia beat Tennessee, they got to go to the Wildcats next week and see what happens. All right. So let's get to it. Let's talk about it. Yes, Alabama took it under the chin. Look, they didn't take it under the chin outside of them just losing. What do you want to say other than Alabama losing to LSU outside of I said it in my pregame or I don't even know what show it was. It doesn't matter. LSU and Alabama, regardless of who the coach is always going to be a game, especially if the LSU players are in the hunt. And they're in the hunt. They only got 1 SEC loss. And the other thing about it is because Kelly got off to a rocky start, not a lot of people was believing that LSU was going to make any heavy noise because of their rocky start. Right? I also think because some people wanted a rant. I don't want to go out and throw out names. I think some people wanted the head ball coach to be the defensive coordinator of that championship team, but he's at Baylor. So that just happened. You can't get the guy at Baylor because you didn't take him when you had him. And now he's at Baylor doing his thing at Baylor. Y'all got Kelly, and not everybody was sold on Kelly. And what do you know? This dude comes out in year 1 and tells you why I left Notre Dame. Because it was no way he was going to beat Alabama. Every chance look. And shout out to Kelly. Shout out to Notre Dame getting a dub. Because it just keeps all these programs seemingly are connected by coaches, by players, and by journey, unfortunately. And so, okay, my point is this. Alabama takes it under the chin and they lose to LSU, but they lose to LSU. How they lose to LSU? No one is upset that Alabama lost to LSU outside of Alabama because for the most part, like Alabama lost by a point. the real question, should this automatically put Alabama on the outs? And that is where my friends, my ladies, my coaches, my players is where the SEC unfortunately will rule, because the Big Ten is going to cancel each other out. The ACC just canceled each other. Clemson not winning out. How about this? You gotta feel a way about Clemson. If you Wake Forest, you feel away. Shout out Wake Forest. If you Syracuse, you feel away. Because Clemson beating Cuse had them going a skid. And that skid came back to beat them by way of Notre Dame. My wife was salty about that one. And so how this all gets balanced with Alabama losing 2 losses, a 2-loss Alabama? Can a 2-loss Alabama go into the playoffs with no ranked opponents to finish out playing, i.e. Arkansas, UAB, and Texas A&M? Not a strong Texas A&M nonetheless. And so the pressure is on for all of the people who have to, the pressure is on for all of the people who have to make those decisions, but the finishing schedule, was LSU. So LSU has to finish with Arkansas, UAB, and Texas A&M. A weak Texas A&M. And then I'm not sure that the Big 12 really, outside of TCU, like TCU wins out, they win their conference. And here's what I can say. What I love about TCU, but TCU is kind of this, they're proven. Don't get me wrong. They're proven. But will they be able to beat one of the top 3 that get in the playoffs? Like, for example, someone's going to argue TCU shouldn't be in front of Alabama, but TCU would have to win out. Like, some teams got to do their job for us to see a different playoff, period. Like, so the Big Ten go get one. SEC go get one. I mean, the Big 12 go get one. That 4th spot, ACC or Big 12. If you had to ask me, I would go Big 12 for the sake of seeing someone different. I would love to see if Coach Sonny Dykes could get it done at TCU. But I'm also gonna put out there, TCU like is pulling it out and winning with small margin. And they're getting it done like with an idea of yeah, we see you, bro. Like, because they were down against Texas Tech. And every game that they're undefeated. They've had to come back. What are they? They've had to come back out of their undefeated season. 2 of the games, 8-0, they had to come back. And only 2 of those games did they not have to come back in. They've been down in a lot of their games. And so that speaks to they got some rally in them. They got some never quit in them. I love that about TCU. Love that about them. And they defense like tightens up in the last little bit where you're like, man, where were y'all in the first half? I played on some defenses like that. I've coached defenses like that to where you're like, bro, if we had to play like this in the first half, y'all wouldn't have had a shot. It happens. The characteristics of great defenses. I don't know. All right. But here's my point. And here's why I'm saying TCU can folly all of this up. One way they folly this up is by not winning out. TCU wins out. There's nothing to talk about Alabama, LSU, or actually there's only one SEC team, and now you're not even talking about the ACC team. All TCU has to do is win out. Now, saying all they have to do is win out is not saying a lot, because next week they have a ranked 24 Texas. Whether you think that ranking is worthy or not, that Texas team will be legitimately ready to go. and is at Texas. Okay. So, and is in state. And then they got to go to another in state and go to Baylor. Right. So, this next 2 weeks, if TCU can hold this line, TCU's in. They got the stronger schedule. And then they got to finish with Iowa State, I love Iowa State University with that 3-3 stack they got over there. And they love playing upset. They love it. They love it. They love it. Love it. Now, the good news is at TCU Stadium. The bad news, they got 2 tough opponents to get to TCU in the claim and put some stake on the claim of the Big 12 title. And so, yeah, I'm going Big 12 over a second SEC opponent. But again, everybody has to do their job for this not to get muddy. Because let Georgia lose the SEC title game. That muddies it all up. That muddies the whole water. TCU done went out. The Bulldogs don't win out. It muddies everything. Everyone else after that can lose and they'll figure it out. Is if the undefeated teams lose this late, it will muddy the entire playoff picture. It will. Now, which takes me to, yes, Clemson getting popped by Notre Dame. Whew. My wife fell asleep and woke up with an L. And that wasn't good. Because it was late. They almost shut them out. In fact, let's be honest. They got shut out. Notre Dame called off the Dogs because Freeman, my man, Coach Freeman, the lost member of 112, came in with his R&B look. Notre Dame doubt like, hey, we about to R&B on you. No, look, shout out Notre Dame. They got it done. And they beat Clemson. 35-14. I don't care what you say. Clemson, all they had to do was take care of business. And this is an example of when people don't take care of their own business, you end up letting someone else get involved in your business. So now the whole ranking is jacked up. Ohio State is number 2. Georgia number 1. Michigan, I don't even know what they're going to do with Michigan because, let's be honest, Rutgers gave Michigan a little run for their money. But Michigan's still in the top 4. And then what are you going to say with LSU, Oregon? Like, I don't know what's going to happen. All I can tell you is this, people. We're going to have a photo finish in these next 3 weeks if TCU takes care of business and Georgia takes care of business, that 4-5 spot, that 3-4 spot, it'll handle itself. Whether that be Ohio State or whether that be one of the Pac-12 teams. That'll handle itself. But let TCU lose and let Georgia lose. This is going to be a nightmare. But a good nightmare. Is there such thing as a good nightmare? Shout out to Kid Cudi. I think he got an album called The Beautiful Nightmare. I don't even whatever. Next. All right, so we go drop it down a little bit and go to a little I don't want to say drop down, but we go talk a little FCS ball. You know, I've been very clear about the FCS level. Why? Because that is going to come down. Now, I was not able to get to the game this weekend, but I'm going this weekend because this game is for the league. Okay. All right. Rhode Island got Maine. It was a barn burner now. Rhode Island beat Maine 26-22. Okay. But now, here's what you know. Here's what you got to know. Next week, New Hampshire, okay? New Hampshire, who just took their first L to Richmond, 40-34, because they had to go down to Richmond. New Hampshire, Rhode Island, both equally are sharing an L, right? They play next week at 1 o'clock at UNH. Rhode Island with 2 conference losses. UNH was undefeated. They just took it under the chin against Richmond. When you look at the standing of this is the photo finish stuff I was talking about, people. Right? Because UNH, who was undefeated, looking sweet, now Richmond looking sweet on top. Now William and Mary looking sweet on top. And now look, here you go. Here you go, because their division is split north and south. So, okay, you got William and Mary at 8-1 overall. You got Richmond at 7-2. Okay, let's just deal with conference. William and Mary 5-1, Richmond 5-1, New Hampshire 5-1, Elon 5-2, Delaware 4-2, Rhode Island 4-2. Boom. These next 3 weeks they all are battling for a playoff spot, right? Rhode Island is a must-win against UNH. They have to put UNH in a 2-loss situation. Have to. Okay. William and Mary. All right. William and Mary. They are in a must-win. Now, they have Villanova next week. Here's where it gets interesting. If they beat Villanova, cool. Villanova is not technically in the hunt for the conference, technically. But they got to finish with Richmond. Keep in mind, Richmond is a 1-loss team. And so now, who does Richmond got to put in? Richmond. Now, this is it. Richmond. Delaware has to beat Richmond for Rhode Island. Delaware is a 2-loss team. Right? So, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you got Delaware who can beat Richmond, put them at a loss. Right? You got William and Mary, who has to finish with Richmond, that can put them at another loss. So now everybody got 2 losses. And you got Rhode Island, who can put New Hampshire at 2 losses. Now, you got everybody with 2 losses if everyone does what you need them to do. So now you back at a 5-way first-way tie. Assuming Elon takes care of business with their 2 losses. And if Elon takes care of business with their 2 losses, they have to play. They beat. Here's the kicker. Here's the beauty. They beat Delaware, beat Albany. Now they got to go to Hampton. Hampton just lost to Delaware 14-20. So if Elon takes care of business next week, close it out, right, and beat Hampton, now they're in a holding pattern. Giving everybody now they finish with their 2 losses. They finish with their 2 losses, and they're done. Now is to see what happens with Delaware, Rhode Island, William and Mary, Richmond, New Hampshire, and it's all got to go down. It's all got to go down, and it's gonna go down in photo finish style. So get your cameras, log on to your Twitters. Because CAA Sports, CAA Football does a great job in giving you them highlights. So tune in. If you're not following them, follow them on the IG and on the Twitter. Right? Because the CAA is about to get funky. I'm telling you. Shout out Rhode Island getting it done. Right? Shout out Richmond getting it done. Because Richmond was at a must-win. They dropped to UNH, and they still got 2 more games. So they got the William and Mary rival they finished the season with. So now they had the potential at 3 losses, and so everybody is at a must-win. Now we talk playoff spots. Do they let 4 teams into the playoffs from the CAA? That will be the question. That will be the question, because you could look up and have 4 teams with 2 losses if everything pans out like that. And I'm sure the committee is having those conversations now. All right, so let's keep going. Where are we going next? All right. All right, so now you guys know it. I know it. I was the head football coach at Bates College, which is also known as the NESCAC, New England Small College Athletic Conference. Yeah, that's right. I said that right. All right. All right. So here we go. Yeah, Trinity went 8-0. Middlebury is 7-1. Wesleyan coming in at 6-2. Tufts 5-3. Kobe 4-4. Yeah, Bates unfortunately did not get it done against Trinity, so we just gonna keep moving. And we also speak to Kobe not getting it done against Tufts, which would have put them above where I think they all were hoping to be. Now they're at 4-4, losing them Tufts 735. That was a tough deal. But next week they are battling for officially the CBB title, which right now, I guess it could be a three-way tie considering Kobe beat Bates, Bates beat Bowdoin, and now we have Bowdoin versus Kobe. What will it be? Kobe, Bowdoin, the mule, or the bear? I don't know, nor do I care. My Bobcat didn't make it, so let's just make it square. Hey, we go. Well, I can't go there. Kobe, my guy Keith up there, coordinator up there. I like Coach Kaz. I'm calling Kobe over Bowdoin, even though I got people at Bowdoin, but I'm Bates affiliated and Bates bias. And so with that, Kobe has Bates affiliates or affiliations by way of hires. We're going Kobe. All right. My name is Coach Malik R. You've been caught up because this is Catch Up with Coach. Until next time, check us in at 1 o'clock. We will be on the MANNIX Brothers, thebigjab.com. Check them out at MANNIX Brothers on Instagram and Facebook. And again, man, thanks for tuning in. And this is your college football live catch up. And you are officially caught up. Peace.